What's your name?
Amaka Illigan.
What's your name?
Margaret McIntyre.
What's your name?
Lydia Grant.
Your name?
Kayla White.
And your cameraman?
Aaron Thomas.
Alright. And my specific purpose of this presentation is going to be explaining the proper use of toy balloons in parties or to decorate. Well, imagine for a minute that you're at a party and you've got all the children having fun and you're playing games and things, and you see that one of the children's having trouble breathing. You go and check on them and you see that they're choking. And then you're like, oh no, what's wrong? And you're trying to help them with CPR and things, but then you find out that apparently one of them had tried to eat one of the balloons and it got caught in their throat. So every time they're trying to breathe out, it inflates, or when they try to breathe in, it inflates the other way. I believe there was a reporting about that. It was on the Fisher-Price website. It was pediatrics, something or another. And they were talking about 14 children die each year of balloon-related incidents, which was kind of amazing to me. So I think it's kind of important to try to exercise proper care when dealing with balloons, or at least if you're going to have them at the party. So some ways to take care of those would be to, I forgot to mention, I also have my niece. So that's kind of a nightmare scenario. Imagine my own niece and that kind of thing. She had a pet dog who also ate things. But what I was getting at is ways to kind of take care of balloons. You can carefully consider how you inflate it. It's like if you're going to be at a party with games and things, or if they're planning to be popped, you want to use balloons that are at a relatively decent size intentionally to be popped, right? They have extremely large balloons that cost $20. You wouldn't want to use something like that and be like, here kids, go play with this thing, and then one of them slams their head against the wall or something. But at the same time, you wouldn't want to try to use water balloons for something like that, unless it's a water balloon game. And at the same time, they have different ways to check how large a balloon is in comparison to its rating. So when you inflate it, you can tell by how large the body becomes, or if the neck starts to fill out, that's the indication that it starts to overfill, where most of the air should be going through the body throughout inflation. Generally, if you plan for them to pop, it would be okay to have a little bit of air in the neck. If you want them to last for a while, like if you're planning to have them decorated, you want them fully inflated, but you don't want the neck to be overinflated. Like say if you're decorating with helium balloons, for example, you want them to float for a long time. Whereas if you underinflate those, they'll just fall after a short time. It's also important to carefully consider the usage for those balloons. For example, let's say when you're decorating, you wouldn't want to put them near light sources because light sources tend to get hot, and those tend to break balloons. But you also wouldn't want to put it near something like a rose bush or plants or grass because they tend to have sharp edges which pop balloons as well. In addition, it's also important to consider if you want to use them for a surprise, you want to have them already inflated. Like wait for everybody to leave a room, fill the room with the balloons while they're done. Then we're going to come back like, oh my God, there's balloons everywhere. Or if it's a game, you wouldn't want to try to inflate the balloons at the last minute unless that's going to be the purpose of the game. So a good way to do that would be to inflate them in advance and then store them in a bag, like a trash bag or something, and then place that somewhere out of the way but near the area that's going to be used for play. That way when it's time for the game, you can just bring them out and then they'll be ready. And another thing that's important to consider is the disposal, for example, or how you're going to clean that up. So, for example, if you're using them outside, if you have balloons that are helium-based, you wouldn't want to have strings or ribbons tied to them because they don't biodegrade as fast as the rubber itself. You'll want to release them, and they would fly off. But you might want to check to make sure they're not near water or whatever, or marine animals can eat it or whatever. If it's late night or if you have quiet hours, it might not be a great idea to start popping them in mass. So one way that you can kind of get around that, for example, as I said before, if the neck isn't very filled out, you could pinch the area near the mouth, the lip, and the neck so that there's low air there, and use scissors to snip it, and then slowly release the pressure so that the air slides out without bursting. But that's not completely foolproof, so I wouldn't recommend it if there's any chance of a fine or something, or if there's a whole bunch that you have to deal with. In conclusion, there's a lot of different things to consider when dealing with balloons. As long as you're careful to clean them up when you got children around, like immediately after they break, clean them up. If you've got noise concerns or whatever, if you're planning to decorate with them, if you're planning to use them for games, there's all kinds of things you need to take care of. And that's it.